All right, it is Tuesday, May 25th, 2021. What time is it? I don't know. It's like 9:30 p.m. and I wasn't going to go live. Let me try charging my phone here. I was just going to go to bed, but I figure screw it. I'll just, because somebody just said, some messaged me and said, "Oh, I watch your bedtime stories." I'm like, all right, all right, all right. I'll do a quick bedtime story, or summary of my day. So, if you're following my Facebook, you know I'm injured mortally, but we'll get to that in a minute. Last night I went to bed fairly early, like 10:15, I think. Put on a podcast, fell asleep around 11. It was awesome. But then at 4:30 in the morning, my tube for my CPAP machine started leaking again. I guess I didn't tape it properly because it's worn out. And then I woke up, I'm like, oh no, how am I going to fall asleep again? So I took another melatonin, 10 milligrams. And then I'm lying there and I put on another podcast. I put on a political podcast, The Dave Rubin Show. And I'm like, this is just going to upset me. So I put on The Weekly Planet. Finally fell asleep. What did I dream about? I wanted to film a dream summary this morning. I think there was a lot of Donald Trump. I think I was living at the top of the Trump Tower. Or no, I was visiting a condo that was kind of like a restaurant, but it was in this kind of condo with like sunken floors and big windows, and I was hanging out with the people, and it was like we were such luxury. And I think there was another condo building like right beside it, like so close. I think I was actually living in one tower, and then I like jumped out of the window, or somehow I got to the top of the other tower. It just felt cool. It felt cool to be like in luxury and hanging out with people in a luxury condo. So maybe I'm manifesting that. But then I woke up around 9. I'm like, I guess that's enough sleep. And then what did I do? Okay, I called Charles back because I saw he called yesterday while I was about to do my comedy show in the woods. And I was like, "Do you call me?" He's like, "Yeah, I was downtown yesterday. I was seeing if you want to hang out." And he's like, "I'm going to the store. Do you want me to pick you up at noon?" I'm like, "Okay." So I went for a jog. I didn't really leave till 11. And then at noon I got back. And then he finally called me around 2. And he's like, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I went to his store. And then it was crazy times. He just has lots of, like, he's right downtown, but like away from the mall, so like kind of a sketchier area, and he's just got crazy people coming by, and then even people calling him were like wanting to build these weird websites, and it was just funny. So it's kind of like living in a sitcom, like, if it was a store like Kim's Convenience or something, just who's the guest of the day kind of thing. And then that was it. And then he's like, my dad texted me at 5:30, and he's like, we're gonna eat leftovers at 5:45, and I'm like, all right, we're leaving soon anyway. So then Charles took me home, and then my mom's like, "Oh, your father said you were at Charles." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I just got back." He's like, "But he's what? I thought you were like there more recently." And I'm like, "No, I literally just walked in because I was walking in with my laptop open because I was reinstalling the operating system to try to fix the keyboard problem." And so I had the laptop open. So I guess it looked like I was just walking around the house, but I had just walked into the house. Anyways, and my dad was on the porch, and he's like, "Oh, I said 5:45, but that was like your mom time. She's not ready yet." But she cooked this big feast of Moroccan stew, Moroccan chili. Is that what she calls it? Uh, yeah, and it's like all these vegetables and everything. It's very healthy, so that was nice. And yesterday I bought a whole bunch of groceries and some whipped cream, so we had that on strawberries, my mom and I. My dad had his watermelon that he likes. And then they were watching a Zoom call for the synagogue, thanking all the people who have agreed to donate money, called the Legacy Project. So when they die, they're donating money. So I don't want to think of my parents dying, but, maybe it'll be a long time ago, or from now, or maybe science will come up with some cures and we'll all live forever. So that's what I'm counting on, and that's why I'm going to make $1 billion so I can fund that kind of work. And then, okay, so then my mom, she's like, "Oh, are you going to put the bird feeders out?" Because she had a bag with the bird feeders, and because she feels bad that my tree that I've had since I was 12, they didn't want it in the living room, and I put it in the backyard and it died. So she's like, "I saw an article that you can hang like bird feeders on it and stuff." And so she made a little sketch: bird feeder, bird feeder, bird feeder, hanging plants. And so I took it out, and so, but the tree's pretty small, so I hung out one bird feeder on it, and then I decided to hang the other two on the trellis above, and I stood on the bench, and then this dog was barking in the houses behind us, but I didn't even really register it. But then some guy walks over, he's like, "Oh, I thought he was saying Cranky." He kept saying Cranky. I'm like, "Oh, hello, Cranky," but I realized later the dog was named Frankie. And he's like, Frankie hasn't seen you before. I'm like, well, yeah, okay. Bark, 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 bark. But I'm like, hello, hello. Sort of this black, smoothed hair dog that looked kind of scary, but I'm not scared of dogs. I like dogs. So I was like, oh, hello, Frankie. And I was trying to like reach over, and he's like, oh, you should come, pet her sometime. And I'm like, well, let's do it now. So I tried to climb over my wood fence, but then there's a metal fence behind it with like jagged little rusty, twisty things coming up. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to jump over with not, sitting on the rusty fence, pointy parts. So I kind of just jumped over, but then I had nothing to hold on to. I fell and I was sort of rolling on the ground and I cut my hands. There's like rocks all over the ground. And then, but I was trying to play it cool. Maybe I was in shock. I don't know. And I'm petting the dog. And then I realized, I think I'm getting blood all over the dog. And the guy's like, are you bleeding? And I'm like, yeah, blood like spraying everywhere all over my hands and my pants. And he's like, maybe you should go inside. I'm like, yeah, you know what? He's like, what did he say? I don't know. Was he saying he could take me there? I'm like, no, I'll just walk around the house or something. So I walked and I washed my hands. And then I'm looking at my hands. There's a big gash. I'm like, that's not good. So then I was Googling walk-in clinics and I couldn't find any. So I posted on Facebook, said, anybody medical professional, can you tell me if I need stitches? Because it's just top of my mind because yesterday I was hanging out with Pauline and she was showing me these wounds because a couple of days ago she was biking and then took a turn on some gravel and fell and had a big gash on her arm here. And she wound up not getting stitches because the hospital was closed, and she called her own doctor and said, we don't do stitches, but then turns out the receptionist was wrong. So she wishes she had got stitches, but she waited 24 hours and it was too late. So I'm like, if I need stitches, I better go. And everybody on Facebook's like, yeah, get stitches, get stitches. So I called one of the hospitals and they're like, oh, it's a 6-hour wait for emergency. I'm like, well, that's like 3 a.m. I might as well just go to bed and get up at 7 a.m. and walk to a walk-in clinic. So that's what I'm going to do. You can see the pictures on Facebook, but yeah, there's a big sort of gash here, and then there's some kind of blood bubble on this hand. Where's that? There. And then there's like sort of a cut there. So that's that. That's stupid. I started thinking like, so much for my hand modeling career. I want to be a hand model. I mean, that's not my main goal, but now it's like, what's going to happen? But when I was like in grade 6, I guess, this guy in my class had warts, and then I think he gave me a wart. Like, in gym class, I don't know if we did that in grade 6, but like sometimes you have to hold hands and stuff. And then, oh no, it was in grade 8 that I had warts on my hand from this guy. And then I was always afraid in class to like, do dancing or anything where you had to hold hands. I was like so embarrassed. I always had Band-Aids in my hands. I should have gone to the doctor and get them burned off. I didn't know. Anyways, that's gross. What was my point of that? Oh yeah, that meant that, maybe that was going to cut into my hand modeling career anyways. All right, so I've already taken my melatonin. And how did I do that on a fence? Just listen to the story I just told. I jumped over a fence from a bench to go into the backyard of the house behind me to pet a dog because there was a dog barking at me. And that was stupid. I could have walked around the house. Why did I jump over the fence? Why did I do that? I could have said, you know what? I'm going to walk out of the backyard and around you. That'll take me 5 seconds. That's what I should have done instead of permanently damaging my hands. God, I'm an idiot. Why did I do that? All right, I've already taken my melatonin. I better go to bed so I can get up right at 7. I've been waking up at 7 anyways lately, but if I don't sleep enough, then I'm like, oh, I'm too tired, and then I keep sleeping all day, and that's not how I'm going to make $1 billion. Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are not sleeping all day. So, all right, I'll do that. 'Cause, yeah, I want to be able to still draw and stuff, right? I don't want to injure my hand. This is very important to me. And playing guitar. Okay. All right, thanks, Sarah. I'll see y'all guys tomorrow. Bye.